Hey, welcome back to Pop Culture Graveyard. I am Hollis, and today I'm going to bring you some forgotten punk anthems. Now, clearly I remember them, and some of you may too. But often when people are discussing great punk songs, all of these tracks are overlooked, underrated, or just plain forgotten. So please join me as I pay tribute to a baker's dozen of forgotten punk anthems. Bring it. Before we get going, I want to give a shout out to my newest patron. Thank you, Al. I really appreciate you and the kind words. If you would like to support Pop Culture Graveyard and get a shout out on the show, please join my Patreon at patreon.com/popculturegraveyard. On with the show. Let's get started. Now don't forget to check the description because I'm going to have links to all of these songs. And be sure to tell me which ones are your favorite. And now, without further eloquence, here are some forgotten, lost, overlooked, underrated punk rock anthems. First up, The Living, Two Generations Stand. It is the second track on their album 1982, recorded almost 40 years ago. In this titular year of Ronald Reagan's America, this album finally found release only 2 months ago. Its claim to fame is a very young, 17 years old at the time, Duff McKagan, leader of Guns N' Roses, on guitar and vocals. Quick sidebar. When Guns N' Roses came out, a lot of us punk fans found Axl Rose problematic, but we all knew Duff's punk rock pedigree. He came up playing in several legendary punk bands on the way to stardom. The Veins, the Fastbacks, the Farts, 10 Minute Warning, and lots of others. He made it okay to get into Guns N' Roses, because Duff is cool as fuck. The Living never released a record during their time together, but they did have one recording session in 1982, just one day, in which they taped all of the 7 songs on this one record. Those 7 songs are repeated on each side. Duff McKagan wrote them all. He also plays guitar and sings. Joining him, John Conte on vocals, Todd Fleischman on bass, and Greg Gilmore, who would later join Mother Love Bone on drums. A quick word about this release. This album is out on Loose Groove Records, the label founded by Stone Gossard of Pearl Jam, and his old bandmate in the band Brad, Regan Hagar. The photogenic punk on the cover is bassist Todd Fleischman, who, if all the photos of the band are to be believed, was equal parts bassist and band mascot. The vinyl comes in various colors. This one is pure white, and it has a really nice weight to it. It feels like 180 gram. So this is a really high quality pressing. Every track on here rocks, but Two Generations Stand is a forgotten punk classic. Literally. Their sound is sort of a blend between 1977 era Clash and 1981 DOA. And the backing vocals are a little evocative of Naked Ray Gun. That is a heady brew. And the lyrics that Duff wrote for Two Generations Stand are so earnest, they're charming as hell. The song literally ends with the words, "You're too old. What are you doing hanging around? Death to the old." Who said it better in 1982? Come on. Take that, President Reagan. You too, Alexander Haig. How fucking old am I? Two Generation Nation, and this whole 7-track album, is more than a kick-ass record. Though it is that. It's a punk rock time machine. And given some of the music calling itself punk today, who doesn't want that? Up next, Better Off Dead from La Peste. La Peste took their name from the French title of Albert Camus' book, The Plague, but don't let that fool you because nothing about their sound is pretentious. This Boston punk power trio released Better Off Dead, or I should say unleashed Better Off Dead, in 1978. And when this track kicks off, it sounds almost like an air raid siren, which is fitting because you're about to be destroyed. The lyrics aren't exactly built for this PC landscape we're living in now, as it concerns sex with someone underage. But the family scene that this song describes is so absurd as to be fairly innocuous. The song was covered by Death From Above, who did a great job, but holy hell, good luck competing with the original. This is one of the heaviest punk songs ever written, and one of the best. Up next, Values Here by Dag Nasty. It is the lead-off track to their album Can I Say. Values Here, in my estimation, is the best song the band ever did. Guitarist Brian Baker, who is a legend thanks to his work with Minor Threat, Government Issue, Bad Religion, and a lot of other bands, creates one of his most infectious guitar parts. And frontman Dave Smalley brings a refreshing melodicism to this outrageously rockin' tune. It also doesn't hurt that this song has a really positive message. Check out the chorus. fear of failure, fear of reprimand. Two big problems I've never had. I never doubted what I had inside. What I had inside. That right there is some self-actualized shit to mosh to. This entire Can I Say album, which was produced by the band with Ian MacKaye from Fugazi, is great. But Values here not only transcends this album, but transcends its entire genre. Keeping things positive, I want to bring a little ska punk to the table with Healthy Body by Operation Ivy. This came out in 1988 on Lookout Records, and this overlooked gem warns against the dangers of overscheduling yourself and seems years ahead of its time as far as promoting wellness. This song concerns a businessman who wakes up early every morning, takes his vitamins and eats his wheat germ, then goes out jogging before he busts his ass in the office for 8 straight hours, leaving himself no time to relax. This man's problem is summed up by the chorus: healthy body, sick mind, working overtime. Healthy body, straight mind, too hectic, too hectic. Healthy body, sick mind, why don't you just unwind? It's just a matter of time. Sick body, sick mind. Post-lockdown, I think we all know what he's talking about. Caution and knowledge are often name-checked, but this upbeat anthem often gets forgotten. Up next, Love Dissolves by Angst. It's the lead-off track off their 1982 debut album, Light Life. Angst was a San Francisco band fronted by two brothers, Joseph Pope and John E. Risk. Why do brothers have two different last names? I don't know, but I suspect their parents are named neither Pope nor Risk. I got turned on to this song by, of all people, Frank Black from the Pixies. We were having dinner one night and I saw him live at a solo show back in New York at Mercury Lounge. Very tiny venue. It was just him on acoustic guitar and vocals and Lyle Workman on electric guitar. Great show, one of the best I ever saw. Anyway, at one point in the show he goes, "This is a song by Angst." And he proceeded to play Love Dissolves, which I didn't know was the title at the time. It was a highlight of the show, which is saying something given all the great songs that Frank Black has written over the years. I went out the next day and bought the Angst album. Once I heard the original, I could immediately hear why it spoke to Frank Black. Cryptic lyrics, impassioned vocals, and a part of the song seems to be missing. All hallmarks of some of the best of Frank's work. This SST band put out 4 albums, but never quite equaled the impact of Light Life, or a track like Love Dissolves. Up next, Celebrity Art Party by The Embarrassment. Isn't that the best name? This band came out of Wichita, Kansas, and were favorites on the Lawrence, Kansas scene. I defy you to come up with a better song that name-checks Art Carney. Well, I'm waiting. Fuck. Fife Dog name-checked him and keep it rolling for A Tribe Called Quest. God damn it. Okay, but name a better punk song that does it. As the song's lyrics correctly state, an artistic party is a narcissistic party by its nature. If you like jangle pop and nerd punk, this will be your alpha and omega. It is such a fun song. I'm going to put a link below to the video for Celebrity Art Party because it's such a college radio era gem. The fact that these guys look even nerdier than you would imagine when you hear the song just makes the song more endearing. A punk hit before punk became a sound and a uniform. Celebrity Art Party, like old punks, just gets better with age. Up next, Tired of Waking Up Tired by the Diodes. Apologies to anyone watching this in Canada, who are probably saying, "Forgotten anthem? The Diodes are the pride of Canada." But here in the States, the Diodes, unfortunately, are a really well-kept secret. This Toronto unit was one of the first punk bands in Canada. And in 1978, they put out their signature song, Tired of Waking Up Tired. I used this song as the walk-in music for a play that I did in New York because it set the perfect mood for the bloodshot-eyed tale I was trying to tell. As with the best of songs, the lyrics are deceptively simple. I'm tired of waking up tired. Waking up tired? Yeah, waking up tired. Too much time to kill. It's killing me, but it's the way it's sung that makes the song. So much passion, so much energy, and the guitar has a clean yet gnarly tone that is pitch perfect. Do not sleep on this one. Ah, that's funny. Up next, Don't Talk to Me, Gigi Allin and the Jabbers. Originally released back in 1980, when the Jabbers were fronted by a young Gigi Allin, who back then still had hair, a nice voice, and personal hygiene, Don't Talk to Me is perhaps the catchiest "fuck you" ever written. There's a reason the song has been covered several times. As funny as it is catchy, you'll wonder where this song has been all your life. Check out these lyrics. You ought to have a case of bloody laryngitis. We're sitting in a room with no one here beside us. 'Cause we're sick and tired of listening to your neurotic shit. Why don't you shut your mouth? Stop acting like a twit. If any of you followed Gigi's career after the Jabbers, he would never be that polite again. Up next, Fire in the Western World by Dead Moon. It is the lead-off track to their album Strange Pray Tell. Their song It's Okay gets all the publicity due to its having been covered by Pearl Jam, but to me, one of the band's most overlooked songs is Fire in the Western World. It's got the band's ragged signature sound and the type of evocative lyrics you've come to expect from Dead Moon. We've been smoking it more but enjoying it less. We better stop using or there'll be nothing left. The eyes of defiance are slowly being crushed to death. The performance really elevates the song, such as when lead singer Fred goes shh right before exploding into the chorus, "There's a fire in the Western world." I think it's the most overlooked song for one of America's most overlooked bands. Up next, Fuck You from Alberto y Los Trios Paranoias. This track is off their 1978 EP, Heads Down, No Nonsense, Headless Boogie. I shit you not. If you're expecting to hear a Spanish band, you're out of luck. These guys had thick English accents you could cut with a Stanley knife. Some of their song titles include Kill and I'm Gobbing on Life. This band was fronted by the handsome and usually shirtless Alberto, not his real name, who was augmented by a band made up like Halloween characters from Universal Studios theme park. Fuck You name-checks fellow punk bands The Clash, The Pistols, Generation X, and The Jam, and is an angry rejoinder to anyone trying to herald the end of punk. The lyrics are pretty damned adorable, and if you read them, you'll probably think they were written by a 12-year-old. Everybody's saying that punk is dead. It's time to close the shop. I'm sorry, but we mean it, man. We're never gonna stop. And we don't care what the papers say. We're gonna pogo till we drop. Even though you're trying to tell me everybody's into power pop. This EP is made up of 2 45s. One disc has the A-side, Fuck You, and the other disc has the B-side, Thank You. They're exactly the same song, except the version with the chorus that says thank you can be played on the radio. The ironic thing is that even the safe for radio play version still kind of sounds like Alberto singing fuck you. Take that, Mr. BBC. Up next, The Saints Are Coming by the Skids. It is the lead-off track to their 1979 debut, Scared to Dance. This is a fantastic album, by the way, as is the following album, Days in Europa, Do Not Sleep on the Skids. Hailing from Scotland, the Skids tend to be an overlooked band in America today, but they produced one of the truly great punk anthems in The Saints Are Coming. You'd think they'd be better known in the US today, if for no other reason than their guitarist, Stuart Adamson, later went on to found the 80s band Big Country. There are other great songs on here, Of One Skin, Into the Valley, but The Saints Are Coming feels epic. And if you've never heard the song, once you hear it, it'll be hard to envision a time when the song didn't exist. It's got a feeling of impending doom, almost as if the quiet before the storm of a gang rumble, a police riot, or a political revolution. The effect is the same, anxious exhilaration. Lead singer Richard Jobson co-wrote the song with Adamson about a friend who had joined the British Army and was later killed in Northern Ireland. Though the story behind it is sad, the song is a thrilling epitaph, and though it has been covered by other bands, the stellar original remains an overlooked, underrated gem. Up next, Hate the Police by the Dicks. Here's all you need to know about the Dicks. They were punk rock Texans whose lead singer, Gary Floyd, was an obese gay man who would routinely perform in a nurse's dress. Does it get more badass than that? Gary Floyd was even immortalized in a song that bears his name by the Butthole Surfers, fellow Texans who were influenced by the Dicks. The Dicks' classic statement is Hate the Police, which would later be lovingly covered by Mudhoney, who do an exceptional version. It chronicles a power-mad policeman who has a gun and is having a bad day. A terrifying combination, to be sure. Punks and cops have always had an adversarial relationship, and that simmering powder keg of anxiousness and angst is captured beautifully in this feverish blast of energy. Up next, Siouxsie Sue by London. Another in a sea of forgotten punk bands from the dawn of the UK punk scene, London was better than most. Led by singer Riff Regan, London were going to be a big deal. Simon Napier Bell managed them, he earlier managed Mark Bolan, and they seemed primed for stardom. They even featured a young John Moss on drums, who would leave London to join, briefly, The Damned, and then later to found Culture Club with Boy George. This Summer of Love EP, which was the second release by the band, is praised for its new wave-ish Summer of Love and for their amped-up cover of Friday on My Mind, which makes David Bowie's version seem like it's in slow motion. But for me, Siouxsie Sue is the standout track on here. Written by their bassist, Steve Voice, this track assures us that all the problems that keep you awake in the middle of the night will be all right once the weekend's here. The song follows the travails of Punk's Johnny, Jenny, and Davy before getting to the titular Siouxsie, who will do it in a park or in a street, but only if it's dark. The song is good-natured fun, as the bands were all mates at the time, and there's something really quaint about the band already mythologizing their fellow scenester Siouxsie, even before she had yet ascended to icon status. The other songs on here are fine, but they really got some grit down on the tape for Siouxsie Sue. And punk is all about the grit. Hope you enjoyed this installment of Forgotten Punk Anthems. If you want more episodes like this in the future, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week with a lot more cool stuff.